Thanks for tuning in to the Marvel Movie Minute.
Want to skip those pesky ads and get early access?
Become a member at truestory.fm/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a weekly podcast in which we assemble to explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 5 minutes at a time. In this, our 9th season, we are looking at Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I'm Pete Wright.
I'm Matthew Fox.
I'm Kyle Olson.
Today we're talking about minutes 116 through 120, which begins with Natasha finally figuring out the badge thing and ends with gravity in all its complicated senses.
I gotta say, I know this is just random. We make jokes about, they design these movies knowing that people will do minute by minute. But the ending of this 5 minutes where it's literally Cap slow motion falling out of the helicopter, that was just one of the best cinematic needle stops, that I've ever seen.
That's just art, man. That's just art. It's really beautiful. And I think this 5 minutes, we talked about the big fighty stuff the last 5 minutes. We have a little bit of the echoes of the fighty stuff in this 5 minutes, but mostly we're resolving the cut scenes that have sort of held us for the last 10 minutes. And I think it works pretty well. Our first minute, it actually holds up well in terms of the minute by minute approach, because the first minute 116, we're in the council chamber. Pierce is watching through the glass as the helicarriers tear each other to pieces over the Potomac. What a waste, he says. We still love Redford. He's a surly Redford.
It's a great shot though too of just over his shoulder as he sees his entire everything is falling apart, all of his plans last 20 years. I don't know how long this Project Insight's been in his brain, but it's all come down.
And I thought this was pretty significant, both this and the little Hail Hydra at the very end, because we had discussed a while back, to what extent is this character a true believer versus a mwahaha power versus kind of a dupe of the powers that be of Hydra. And I think this is a pretty clear sign of this is someone who honestly believed he was the hero of the story. This was someone who, and I was thinking about it more and thinking about so why is it this is happening? And I don't think it's coincidental that we're going to get Age of Ultron pretty darn soon. That they started out talking about how part of what got Insight going and all of this was there are freaking aliens out there and they might attack us. And we need to be a more stable, secure society. And I couldn't help but think, the fear that drove Redford's character to do this kind of thing is not that far from what drives Tony Stark to create Ultron. And he's still very much a villain in a way that Stark doesn't quite get to be. Although we can discuss that when we get to that movie. But to me, that line and the Hail Hydra really confirmed he really believed this. It doesn't make him any less villainous, but he is not a mustache twirler. He's not, Bones Man who Crossbones, the guy who will become Crossbones, Rambo. Rumlow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Me and names.
I like Rambo though,
right? Who I think is just he just wants power because he wants to be a bully. I think Redford generally believed this was going to make the world a better place.
Well, I think there are two things going on. Whether one, Pierce believed that was ideologically pure in his belief that this was going to be a better place. Yes, I agree with that. When he says Hail Hydra, my first thought is, does he understand that maybe Hydra doesn't necessarily share the ideological purity of just making the world a better place, but also exists to accumulate power and authority for the sake of having power and authority? Does that make sense as a sort of a nuanced difference?
I'd say so. I mean, and it's a hard question because if you ask, okay, well, after all these movies and all these episodes of S.H.I.E.L.D., what does Hydra actually really want?
Right.
It's a never-ending Russian nesting doll. Every season, every movie, there's a new... But I think part of the point of that is that no one knows what Hydra actually wants. Hydra and So yeah, I think
Hydra doesn't know what Hydra actually is.
it has many heads.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the downside of when you cut off a head. Morgan's place is that the heads don't know what the other heads are doing.
Yeah.
So every time Hydra shows up, it kind of seems like that everyone's pursuing their own thing. Because like aside from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the next Hydra we see is Baron von Strucker, immediately getting defeated at the start of the next Avengers movie. And he is very much in the classic, like,
mustache-twirler
super villain. Yeah, with the with the monocle and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, very different than the Hydra we see here in the immaculate, well-tailored suit at the top of a tower.
Yeah, it's one of the things that makes this version of Hydra the most interesting for this movie, because it is the greatest comp for the ideologically pure Steve Rogers, right? Like, it's a better evildoer because it wants something that's not just power. And Steve wants something and is out of time and isn't always quite sure what that is, but he knows it's good and honest. And so I think that's a lesson for me in this 5 minutes that I don't think I've ever thought about, the value of a deep evildoer.
Well, and to me, I feel like it is a better, more interesting villain, but to me, it also highlights why Red Skull still needed to be the villain in the first movie, because like the first challenge for Cap isn't the deep idealism. It's you now have all this power. Will you become a bully? Because to me, Red Skull is very much like the Baron. He's not ideologically, he's just a supremacist.
Yes.
And very much therefore in the kind of like, he's a Nazi, except that he thinks the Nazis are just as weak compared to him. And compared to everyone else when they compare to him. And so I think that like Cap first needed that challenge of like, you have all this power. Will you become the supremacist? Will you believe that you are better than everyone else? Because you actually literally are. Or will you still hold to that humility of, I'm here to help? And then once that is established, now we can get to, okay, if you're only going to use your powers to serve your ideology and to serve your ideas of good, now let's pull that rug out from under you and see what happens.
Right.
Like, to me, I like this villain a lot more, but same with you. I never really thought about it until I was watching it again just now and now talking about it. This to me feels like a very good follow-up to the Red Skull conflict.
It is. I love that you brought up Red Skull, because the parallelism between the sort of the villain to the challenge that Cap was facing at the time is really smart. And I wonder how much, this is the time where I'm going to say something and Kyle's going to say, but I read a book, and it's not true, because it makes me think that it was intentional, that the Russos somehow had a plan to have the villain be parallel to Cap in a way that is really much more intelligent than just the pixels on screen. And I like, my headcanon sort of likes to think that way.
Yeah, I think that the Red Skull versus Captain America is always an interesting thing, because the Red Skull desperately wants to be Captain America on the one hand, and also cannot understand why Captain America isn't on his side. Like, you are the Aryan ideal that I am looking for, and yet you're fighting on their side. He just cannot. But this is what now we come down to, like, as Pierce is the central villain of that. I mean, Winter Soldier, even though he's in the title, is sort of the hired gun in this situation. Pierce is the villain. Is there any part of you, the two of you, that is annoyed or upset that Captain America doesn't get to punch out the villain? Like there is no, Captain is like doing a completely different thing and does not even know this is going on. He does not know what's happening with Pierce. He does not know he's defeated. He won't find out until the debrief, a couple days or a week later or whatever.
I definitely was aware of that, because and granted, I'm not sure what is happening on Pierce's phone, but at the moment that Nick Fury shoots him, unless I'm forgetting exactly what's happening on that phone, he is not posing an immediate danger. Like, Fury can just point the gun at him and say, drop the phone, and resolve things. I don't think Fury needed to kill him. I think that it is 100% believable that Fury would kill him, and that Black Widow would go along with that. And I think if you're going to do that, Cap can't be there. I do wonder how much of that is because the writers thought this is what Nick Fury would believe versus the writers wanted to take Pierce off the table so that we weren't going to think about him coming back in a future movie the way if Cap had just captured him might have been a thing. But I think it is effective and intentional that in the moment you don't think twice. It's like, yeah, Fury killed him. Good.
Mm-hmm.
And then later you're like,
I said, this only occurs to me because we're doing this. We're doing the dissection.
Yeah. You're like, wait, did Fury have to do that? Was he an immediate threat in that moment?
It's funny you actually resolve both the Doyleist and Watsonian approach to the scene, right? Like there was no way we're going to have Redford again for another movie. We have to take him off the table. That's the super practical, production approach. But I stand with your other point. I think Fury is living up to his name. I think he's mad. I think he's mad. I think he sees this guy as a true villain. I think he is. I think he's bitter about the. I took a bullet for you, and then Pierce says something that I find a bit mysterious. Right. You have, and you will again when it's useful. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. That's like a weird. Like, I can't think of a better line, and these are the words that are coming out of my mouth kind of a sequence. But
this is maybe the most James Bond this movie gets, which is clearly homaging James Bond through all of it.
And you will again when it's useful, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, I mean, because he fully is in the Dr. No thing of like, oh, I'm going to escape. Like all his whole energy is like, well, I've got a captive now. She's going to fly me out of here, and we'll do this dance another day. And until Natasha basically sacrifices herself, as far as she knows, he fully expects that is what is going to happen, and is very surprised that he dies.
Yes,
no one in that room is more surprised that he dies than Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you just said it. I think that is actually the Russo answer to that sequence. He's about to get a monologue, a James Bond style monologue, and the sort of action movie joke is to resolve it. This is Indiana Jones, using the gun instead of the whip, right? I mean, that's what we have here. And it almost feels a shame that it takes us so long to think about that parallel. Then, that we have to do a movie by minute podcast to get there, because I think it's actually, it's smart and satisfying in its own way. Even if and I think, Matthew, you're right on. Captain America cannot be in the room when this happens. There's already a rift at the top. He cannot be there when this happens.
Right.
And that plays directly into the secrets we keep from Cap's do-gooder nature that we started at the beginning of this movie.
And for me, I think there's two key ththings here. One is that, just to get a little more cynical, but I think it is not from a evil place, Fury fundamentally believes that he wants his country and his world to be safe, and that he has to be the one to do it. And so him being taken down is not acceptable, because that, he needs to do that. And if he has any hope of saving S.H.I.E.L.D., the trial of Pierce, where everything gets aired out, is not going to be what you want.
Good point.
Whether that's how much Fury had to do with insight to what happened in Colombia. The other thing I think is that it also, to me, highlights how much Pierce is not just ideologically, but literally physically the antithesis of Red Skull. And it's such a weird villain for Cap, because Cap is, at the end of the day, he punches the problems till they stop being problems. And he can inspire people, he can mobilize people, but he is a physical, in-person combat person. Pierce is not. Pierce can maybe pull a trigger on a gun. He doesn't know how to throw a punch. He's an office drone. And
he shot the maid.
He shot the maid, but
but his power is manipulation, and in like hiding in plain sight, and like because he organized all of this. Let's not forget that like every person that was on the strike team, whatever, like the inside Hydra agents inside S.H.I.E.L.D. were handpicked by him. Like he has another superpower. It's just in this situation.
But if it ends with Pierce trying to kill Captain America, like the two of them fighting in an office, that's going to be like that's not going to be a fight.
Like he gets a big, green Hydra battle suit,
I hate,
just Redford's head on top of a big CGI body, like the end of the Wolverine, you know?
I hate Mecha Lex Luthor so much. I don't want Mecha Pierce.
You know,
But
we already had Mecha CEO in Iron Man. Lest we forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was not that far along. From when this movie takes place. But the only thing I feel like in this scene that doesn't exactly work is I feel like this is a big move for Black Widow, and it because of the editing and because the movie's moving so fast, you kind of blow past it and miss it. It's so cool, and it's a big character moment for Natasha, and it's like happens just that fast, and people go what, and then boom, boom, double tap. Yeah. Hey, looks like Fury's been watching Zombieland, just to make sure. And then we just move on, but it's I wish there had been more of a thing, rather than more of the like the movie actually starts out with some full on like ship on ship destruction, like it's just battleship porn for a while,
for sure.
But I was like, I wish they had made more of a thing of that. She took out like one of the stingers that she's used earlier in the movie that we knew, so we could go, oh, and then we think she's going to throw it at him, but instead it's just like click, 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 and then she's down, and you go, but, and then boom, boom, and then everything's fine. It was like, okay, so she pulled out one of her own stingers, hit herself with it to make sure that she would not be the victim. She did not know if that would work, if that would disrupt the pin. She was fully trusting that Nick Fury would take advantage of the situation. She was not going to let herself be a hostage. And so she'd rather take the chance of either electrocuting herself or being shot while she was down, or activating the pin and killing her, rather than be the victim, rather than be the hostage.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it happens so fast that I just wish they had find a way to linger on that a little bit longer, to show that like this is a big thing for Natasha to be the team player, like to take the this is her doing the sacrifice play. Like she literally puts herself out there, that this very, very, very highly possibility that she is going to die here, but she would rather that than be used as a pawn, as a hostage, to be the chauffeur to take Dr. Evil away.
Right.
And it's awesome, and yet like click, 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 and we're moving on.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think I have the same feeling. And granted, this is the kind of thing where like if we think about it hard enough, it starts to unravel a bit, and that's maybe why we shouldn't think about it so much. This is the one part of the Pierce character that I think doesn't fully line up, because as we just discussed, he is a master manipulator. To do that, you have to know people. But everything that happens in this scene is because he doesn't know people. Because he thinks Nick will be on his side. He's wrong. He thinks Cap will be on his side. He's wrong. He thinks Natasha will so value her own life that she will help him get away rather than endanger herself. Like, all of this is about him misjudging people. And maybe that's intentional, and an idea of like that it's his hubris, but it just feels like it doesn't quite fit with, and even to the point of like him thinking Bucky won't, Bucky's allegiance to Steve will be overwhelmed by the mind manipulation stuff.
I think it tracks, though. I think because this shows that he assumes everyone sees the world the same way he does, and if you just show them the math, if you just show them stuff, he can't fathom a world where people are actively good. That they would they would not act in their self-interest. They would not see the bigger picture. Like that goes on, because all the people that he can't figure out are the ones who are doing something altruistic, even Nick Fury's, bloody hands altruism. But like in his mind, he is trying to do a good thing. But all those things, the reason he gets brought down is because he doesn't anticipate people doing good and going out of their way to do something that might hurt themselves to help someone else. Because he would not do that.
Meanwhile, on floor 41.
Yeah, it's like we have these high emotional stakes and stuff too. Meanwhile, there's like Falcon running for his life. Like
well, here's my big question
stakes,
with Falcon and Rumlow. Who wins the fight, do you think? Right.
I'd say the person with more situational awareness, because of the two of them, one of them does not get a building dropped on.
That's fair. But I am looking at it more from the perspective of if the building did not drop on them, who do you think, where do we see Sam in this matchup against Rumlow? They're both in their sort of comic book action hero fighty development saga. Rumlow is not yet Crossbones. Sam is not yet Cap. They are, and yet we get to see
He's
them
barely Falcon at this point.
He's barely Falcon, right? We just get to see them pummeling each other, and then the building falls. If the building doesn't fall, who do you think has the upper hand?
I mean, I think Rumlow. I think that's very much the point.
My money's on Rumlow.
Yeah.
I love Sam, but like fist to fist.
You said who wins the fight. My answer is the building, and
yes,
and I think that they intentionally don't make it that he's doing this like, actually I'm super smart and manipulated you into a place. It's just he gets lucky. And it kind of reminds me of the like, I am better than you, I am smarter than you, yeah, but I'm taller. From the end of Speed. Like he just gets lucky. And like that's how fights happen sometimes. And that's so much of the Hydra insight idea is control. And maybe actually here's the part that Kyle, what you were saying about how Pierce's actions make sense. It's they really think they can, if they have all the information and have all the weapons, they can have total control, and they can't. And that's Rumlow. Rumlow's like, I got you. I'm better than you, because he just thinks he's on solid ground when clearly he's not.
Yeah, and also he does not have anyone supporting him. His strike team are gone. Like there is nobody like coming to help him.
Yeah.
So in the same situation, if like he takes out Sam, whatever, and then jumps out the window, there's gonna be no one to catch him.
Right. That's a good point. Sam has a helicopter to jump into.
Yeah. This is different. So like between an ideology and an army, I guess, because like he's a soldier, so he like knows the members of his unit are going to be there to literally catch him when he falls, because he does.
Yeah. I do love the last line we get.
We bag on like all the CG stuff in it, but my God, like this is incredible. Like this is all all. I mean, I'm sure it's just running across a green floor or whatever too, but like the building coming down and the helicarrier coming through, and then him leaping out and helicopter and turning sideways to make sure he doesn't hit the blades. All great, all great.
I'm totally in it. I'm in it too.
It's funny because when he does that I totally agree with you, everything. Like part of me is like, wow, what's the budget of this movie? Did they really blow up a building? And of course they didn't, but that's kind of it because it looks like that. It doesn't look like it's super CGI'd. Yeah. And when he does the leap into the helicopter, my brain wasn't like, oh, that's too CGI'd. It was, come on, there's no way he lands and survives that impact. Like, I was treating it as though like that was a completely legitimate thing for them to film. That wasn't the issue. It's the believability of would he live through this?
This is like the quintessential of like the Russos and Marcus and McFeely is that Sam jumps out of a window. They're on the helicopter's below him, so Natasha has to turn it to the side, and so he can go in. They go in and he goes almost through it. They grab him and pull him back in as they right it. And the first line is 41st floor, 41st. Like he's not like, oh my God, I just died. Or, oh, thank you for saving me. It's like so annoyed that like, I told you very clearly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
I will say,
they don't put the numbers on the outside. Like it's like
I have once seen a building that did, and to this day I have no idea why. Like it's because it was like a 30-story building. It wasn't huge. I think it was in Cleveland, somewhere in the Midwest. But to this day I'm like, did they do that because of the movie? Because I thought it'd be funny when they built it. Like.
Well, all of this leads us to minutes 119 and 120. Minute 119, we've got Cap and Bucky, and they're trying to further resolve their differences. And at this point, Cap is, they are under the surviving helicopter or helicarrier as they have been. And Steve is saying, you know me. No, I don't. Cap keeps naming him Bucky, James Buchanan Barnes. Bucky keeps refusing it, and now we're trying to capture humanity in these two. and rediscover humanity in Bucky. Do you rediscover the humanity alongside?
Yeah, I think that one of the after he rescued Bucky, and then at this point you can see this is I think is what's great about Sebastian Stan is that like you can tell the difference. Like you can tell in this that it is Bucky. Like it is like you can see that it's not Winter Soldier. Like you can see that there's a difference in just the way his facial expressions and what he's doing. Like you can see that something has changed.
Yeah.
And so then you have that great moment as they're facing off. That here's the big thematic. Cap drops the shield to help his friend.
Yeah,
like so there's some beautiful visual metaphor right there of like he literally gives up, like drops it down, and maybe never see it again. I mean, it goes right into the Potomac, and like is going to stand there and take the lumps. Like I'm here, I'm with you, obviously until the end of the line.
There's an interesting thing, and Matthew, you missed it last week. We were talking about the fight itself, and there is a point where Bucky has the blade, the server blade, the chip in his hand, and Cap is behind him and is restraining him and holding the cybernetic arm. And Kyle asked the question, "What is Bucky's mission?" Because all Bucky had to do was squeeze. Right? Crush the blade. And the movie ends. There's nothing left. Here we have a bit of a resolution and an answer to that question, right? I'm not going to fight you, Cap says. You're my friend. And Bucky says, in full James Buchanan human emotion, you're my mission. You're my mission. As he's throttling Captain America. Does that recontextualize Bucky's actions 4 minutes ago?
I think so, but I think not in any way about Bucky. I think what it tells me is the short-sightedness of how they're using Bucky. Like, I think it is that kind of like, you don't program the robot to take for granted what you take for granted. Because I can imagine them saying to Bucky, look, we need to stop them from putting these blades into the helicarriers, so your job is to stop Cap.
Yeah.
And what they think they've just told him is your job is to not allow the blades to go into the helicarriers and so stop Cap from doing that. But what he hears is stop Cap. And the blades are irrelevant.
This is the AI paperclip maximizer thought experiment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you've got to be very clear when you're programming a machine with those instructions, because it does a little bit to me feel exactly like that. He's got the blade in his hands, but that wasn't his job. Yeah. His job was to stop Cap. He's going to keep fighting just Cap.
So just as your AI paperclip thing made me think of like a real life story, and I'm very short. Essentially, this is a friend of a friend told me a story that someone at a very high level decided they were going to train an AI bot to organize their incredibly overfull inbox. They had their email, like it was basically had thousands and thousands of emails they needed to do it. So they created a simulator, they let it go to work on it, and it did great. Like it sorted everything, it contextualized everything, and it was fantastic. Then they let it loose on their actual inbox, and then something happened, which is it saw that it had millions, maybe hundreds of thousands of things, and then realized, hey, it'd be easier for me to organize if there were less of them. And so it just started deleting emails en masse because it's a lot easier to sort through 100 things than 1,000 things. So I was like, that's work smarter, not harder. Yeah.
And that's how we get Ultron, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
It'd be greater if there were less humans.
So I want to flip this around and ask a different ethical question. Because I think with superheroes, one of the questions that I think is most interesting is if you are claiming a mantle of I am here to help others, and that's why it's okay that I have these powers that would otherwise mark me as very dangerous. So there's some level of public trust that you're asking for. Is there an assumption that you will put aside your personal biases in order to help the public? That's the general framing. Here's the specific question. If Cap says, Bucky, I'm not going to fight you, Bucky then knocks Cap out, and then Bucky goes on to kill a bunch more people. Is Cap responsible for those deaths?
Yeah, this is Batman and the Joker. This is the classic
I mean, now
conundrum.
it's Obi-Wan and Vader.
Yeah.
Like, how many damn times they can have Obi-Wan walk away from a mostly beaten but still alive Vader and be like, nah, you're fine. You won't
See,
do it again.
I think the ethical sort of response is Cap has chosen the way forward that he thinks will best defeat Bucky's immediate intentions. And he could fight. That would be the obvious way to do it. But I think Cap's making the case by taking this action that this is how he's going to get through to Bucky and stop. It is just as valuable a path forward as if he just raised his fists and kept fighting. My sense is maybe, there is in Cap some belief that he is trying to renegotiate with his friend. But I also think he's probably saying, I think I can end this fight in a smarter way.
Yeah.
And, there's a line in the last Widow's Bay. You guys have done Widow's Bay. You haven't seen it. There's a line at the end where they're talking about the trolley problem, famous trolley problem, and he's talking to this woman. And he says, what do you do? Do you throw the lever? And she says, ask me if I'm going to throw the lever. I'm the lever in that scenario, right? I'm the lever. I can't pull the lever because life happens. And I think in this case, Cap is sort of exhibiting the lever. And that makes it a more interesting sequence to me. It's not Cap going soft. I think it's Cap making a choice. That's my take on it.
See, and to me, I think I'm looking at things through a gambling metaphor a lot these days. Check it out on my Superhero Ethics podcast. I know, professional poker players, my co-host. Because I think it's a good metaphor. And I think one of the things we talk about a lot is like, if you choose to gamble what belongs to you, you can take whatever risk you want.
Yeah.
The thing is, if I gamble my wife's savings without telling her, there's a problem there. And I think that beating Bucky down with your fists till he stops moving, we know that will stop him. It is a gamble that he is taking to say, I think I can get him to stop wanting to do it. And to me, the question is, he's not gambling with his life. He's gambling with all of ours.
The question is, Matthew, though, and I just would push back on one point. Do you really think that his gamble is that he thinks there's another way, or is his gamble that he thinks there's the only way? It's just as much of a gamble to try to fight Bucky. He's been fighting Bucky, and they're pretty even-handed. This scene, he's doing for the first time something different, something Bucky cannot do.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's clearly wrong. I'm just saying I think that it is, to me, I wish that they acknowledged more that it was I wish they acknowledged more of the risk of it. And I think part of why I think about that is because to me, it's kind of similar to, no, don't nuke those people. I believe that this small group of plucky adventurers is going to defeat the Chitauri. To me, Nick Fury makes the exact same gamble, and it works. I don't know if he made the right choice. But that's, anyway, I'm not saying I think Cap is wrong. I just think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, totally is. Yeah. And of course, we get, after the "You're my mission," we get the, then finish it, Cap says, because I'm with you till the end of the line. Oh, do you hear them playing your heartstrings?
I know. And 1,000 memes were born.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like calling back to Captain America First Avenger.
Yeah.
Like, once again, called shot, like from way back where. Beautiful. Absolutely.
It's beautiful. And that leads to the dome collapsing out from under Cap. Bucky is hanging from the rafters like the "Hang in there, cat," the "Hang in there, kitten" on the Scholastic posters. And that's the end of our minutes.
Yeah. And once again, very much of a Empire homage.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we have like the big confrontation between the two, and one falls while the other is above. And what would have happened if they hadn't been able to stay on the thing? We won't know.
We won't know.
Yeah, but you're right. It ends on that fantastic shot. It's one of the most beautiful, like maybe the most beautiful of the cuts of our minutes. Where like the slow-mo of Cap falling, and once again, Cap falling from doing the noble thing, falling from above into water to possibly not survive.
Possibly.
Parallelism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We didn't, specifically on the helicarriers and their relationship with gravity. They do, sometimes things fall
Remarkably,
straight
we were
down.
joking about it, but yeah, sometimes helicarriers do fall straight down.
There is one sequence where the helicarrier falls back down on the barrier between helicarrier bays in the Potomac, and its back breaks. And
and
I
the
find
water
that
comes rushing in to like fill up the thing.
Enormously satisfying effect sequence. It is beautiful and it makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Any final words as we wrap this up?
And again, I think it's just because I've now seen this movie many times and I absolutely love it. I promise. But I think I'm not overcome by the to the end of the line moment because it's been so memed, and that's why I think about the ethics instead. Him falling is a beautiful scene, but also confirmed something from earlier that I noticed, which is when you have two people who are genetically modified such that falling damage will probably not kill them, and they are trapped between a very heavy metal thing they cannot escape and a glass floor.
Well,
great glass.
We don't know if it's glass.
Yeah, I hope it's not glass.
Well, it's soon to see. They break it later. And that's why Cap.
It breaks, but I'm saying, who knows? Maybe it's transparent aluminum.
Transparent aluminum.
I'm just saying, I think breaking it could have been easier than lifting off the metal thing. But
true.
There we go.
This was, I will say, when we started this process, we had 10 major sequences. We had On Your Left, Lemurian Star, Nick Fury's car attack. Before we get started, the elevator fight. We had Steve and Natasha on the run in the mall, the Camp Lehigh Zola algorithm moment, the highway battle. Steve visits Peggy, our emotional core, and I'm with you till the end of the line. These 5 minutes represent the ninth, the penultimate major sequence. That means there's one more major sequence yet to come. I wonder which one it is. Find out.
And just as a callback to previous Marvel Movie Minutes, that's a picture wrap on Robert Redford.
Hey.
Thank you, Robert.
It is also on Rumlow on right?
Well, that's true.
For this movie. Yeah.
For this movie, picture wrap on Rumlow.
Frank. Yeah. Picture wrap on Frank Grillo. Let's hear
Grillo,
it.
Yay! Okay. So I'm very excited for what's to come. Things slow down fairly dramatically. We only have 4 episodes left of this particular season of this show, and we're excited for you to stick around with us as we do it. On that, make sure you head over to marvelmovieminute.com if you're interested in supporting the show. We take members who jump in. They get the shows ad-free and a week early. I read a comment in our comment. I rarely do the mass comments. One of the comments was that they hated the ads, and if there was only a way to support us and pay for it to get rid of the ads, they would do it.
Gosh,
and
so
there is a way at marvelmovieminute.com. There's a way. You can actually do it. If that person's probably not listening because they were so mad at the ads. But anyway, there is a way. We sure love the support. And thank you very much for your patronage. On behalf of Kyle Olsen and Matthew Fox, I'm Pete Wright. Check out theethicalpanda.com. Check out Craft and Chaos for Kyle's, but mostly check out Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society. We haven't pitched that in a long time. And it's really great, y'all. It's really great. I think I've died twice as a participant of VoiceCast. I think I've had 2 lines and died twice. Outstanding. And we will catch you next week right here on Marvel Movie Minute.
Enough said.